This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
For the first time this season, the Major Series leaves Florida. However, we stick around the South and make sure to take in the full flavor of America's most popular racing pastime. That's right, it's time again for short track racing. Bristol Motor Speedway has returned to the calendar, but this season it hosts the Super Late model. Though it's seen as a lower tier on the rung of the oval racing ladder, its quick and twitchy nature might still flummox even our most talented oval racers. So strap in and get ready to watch them all do battle in the last great Coliseum as we get ready to watch the Major Short Track Nationals. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight is Bill Soup Zahn. Next to him is our resident short track expert, Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, I'm so glad we've got you with us tonight because tracks like this, well, this is your bread and butter as a child.
Yeah, Joe, really my bread and butter indeed. Let me get the simple details out of the way real quick, okay? 30 degrees of aero banking. It's a half-mile track, okay? Those are the important details about this track. Now, they did build it in 1960. Here's the really cool thing that I want to tie into this, because today is a special day. A certain driver turned 80 years old today. His name is Cale Yarborough. For you young people, maybe you don't remember that name, but what I will tell you about Cale Yarborough is his domination at this track. Over 29 races in his career, an average start of just over 10th place. He finished 4th. Okay, in 29 races, that was an average finish of 4th. He won here at Bristol 8 times over his career. The man literally burned up this track. They opened it in 61. He started here in 63. And guess what he did in his final race, August 23rd, 1980? Driving for a man named Junior Johnson in the old Budweiser number 11. Yeah, he won his final race at Bristol in his final season. And I got to tell you, man, that's impressive. That talks about the history of this track. Drivers from all walks of life have been here and raced. The Wheel and Modified Tour race is here. And I know a few guys that have run on this track, and the common thread amongst all of them, when they've talked to me, it's death-defying, guys. It's death-defying. The super lates that we're going to be watching tonight, they throw it into the turns at just over 120 miles an hour. But the best way to get a look at what that feels like is to hop on board for another GSRC Lap Guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Brian Yazzie, taking you for a spin around the Bristol Motor Speedway in the GSRC Super Late model. Without further ado, here we go. Bristol, if you are unaware, is a top line track, so you kind of take that in right up to the wall and bring it down just a little bit, watching the loose on exit. Down into turn 3, similar situation. Kind of enter high, let it roll up to the top, and then kind of hook it back down to the bottom. That transition, though, will get the car upset on exit, so it's going to be worth watching. Kind of the same thing here. Now, as the run progresses with a dynamic track, you could see guys move around a little bit, finding the cooler parts of the track, but for this intents and purposes, we're going to be right up here next to the fence, cutting it down off of turn 4, across the line. That's going to complete our very fast guide here around the Bristol Motor Speedway. I'm Brian Yazzie. Enjoy the show.
You see a few laps around Bristol. We're going to get a lot more considering we've got multiple heats and an A-main that we are covering today, as well as the last chance qualifier. Before we get to that, though, let's take a look at least at the Drivers' Championship. We'll cover the rest of the championships later on. Bill, we've got a few rounds under us.
Yeah, and the fans can't help to begin to feel a little trepidatious about this being a tight championship battle, as Blake Reynolds Even after only 3 races, has started to open up a pretty substantial point lead. The Riding Shotgun Motorsports #1 team driver has a 203-point margin over Eric Smith, who races in second for V Apex Racing Group America. Lance Nasser, falls down a spot for Riding Shotgun Motorsports. That's the Desperado team. Paul, oh my darling, up a couple spots, making our overlay down there in fourth. And then Liam Quinn, wait till we get to the open wheel cars to see what Liam can do on those. Kinetic America sitting in fifth. Joe?
Thanks for that, Bill. Now, in case you're wondering exactly how this is all going to go down, we're going to go to Sean. He'll give us a skinny on how these races will play out.
Let's go over the deets, as they say. All right, so this is round 4 in what is going to be a great and long season here in the majors, in the Americas, the European and international divisions. This is, you see there, the droplets on screen there. They get 1 drop per road event and 1 per oval. Some may need that after tonight. Now the setup, it's the super late model. Not much to figure out here. It's a great car to try and set up. It's very tricky here because you got a couple options. We'll talk about that as the race goes on. But the 2 qualifying races we got to focus on here. The cautions are off, okay? There's no cautions. You don't get a spare car. Good luck. You got to make it through those 20-lap races. The top 7 advance to the A main in those 2 qualifying races. And then we have a last chance qualifier, and 6 from that will transfer over. Okay, so now, again, 6 advance to the A main. Others go to the B main. Okay, so there'll be an A main and a B main. We're covering the A main for you tonight. And listen, great battles in store for us, Joe, tonight. The most important thing, take care of the car if you want to make it to the A main tonight.
Absolutely, especially without that spare car in these heats on the way to the big show. Now, if you aren't out there racing, if you've been following the majors as a viewer, well, you might want to get a little bit of gear, a little bit of swag. All you got to do that is go to pacificmajors.com/store. They have stuff that you can buy there. Maybe you can get yourself a mug. Maybe you can get yourself a T-shirt and help support this league and show your love for all the different cool types of racing they put on. But the other thing that we should mention is the majors are doing something special this year by allowing members to nominate charity causes for each round. Now, drivers can buy extra qualifying attempts, and that money goes towards each round's cause. Race 4's charity is the Jeff Gordon's Children's Foundation, and it was nominated by Mike Kelly. Jeff founded his Childhood Cancer Foundation in 1999, and ever since they've been racing hard and fast to find cures for all types of pediatric cancer. They won't stop until cancer does, and if you'd like to help them or learn more, you can donate or find information at jeffgordonchildrensfoundation.org. We're just in a little bit of a warm-up for the moment. They have settled qualifying as they usually do here in the majors long before this race, so we'll go over that grid order in a little bit. While we're waiting for that, just want to mention that the iRacing Esports Network is bringing you all regions of the majors once again. And if you'd like to, please subscribe. All you got to do is click the big red button that says subscribe on their YouTube page. You'll get the majors and all the official iRacing World Championship Series here on IESN. Looking out at the warm-up with just a little under 3.5 minutes left to go. Let's talk a little bit about some of our favorites that we're expecting in the run-up to this, Bill. I've been told that there's a few drivers to watch out for. Taft Baldwin, apparently a known expert on these short tracks. Trying to see if he is in this one. I don't believe he's been...
Nope, fastest in qualifying. Yeah, he's in practice right now, sitting up in the top of practice times.
And actually, we do have one of our competitors that we can talk to about some of what the drivers are experiencing. Not the competitor in this region, though. In the UK, in the European region, Christian Challenger has joined us. Christian, welcome to the booth. You've gotten to experience your run through this short little track and these fast little cars. I mean, what do you think these guys really need to watch out for now that you've been down on the track?
I think the biggest thing that they need to really look out for is kind of how the track changes as the heats sort of progress, especially as it goes towards the night. going to cool down, and I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of people are going to start on the top of the track, because it is fastest up there. But the longer the race goes on, the colder it gets, the more the bottom becomes viable. There's just more grip down there. I know at the end of the European race, kind of felt pretty even to me, so it should actually make for a good race. It was pretty good, the green flag runs that we had in the Euro race.
Of course, the A main is what delivers the points, so that's really the one that you want to aim for. Knowing that, were people going very aggressive, knowing that they had a last chance qualifier, or was it people kind of trying to mind their P's and Q's just to save the car since they don't have the spare here in the heats?
Well, the first two heats before you get to the LCQ, I think it's kind of smart for everybody in the transfer spots. So they're like the top 6 or so. It's top 8 that go through, but really the top 6, there's no point fighting. You're going through anyway. You might as well just ride it out. Probably going to be the most hectic around about 7th through to 10th, that kind of region, because obviously there's going to be opportunities maybe right at the beginning to gain some spots.
Christian, it's Sean. Quick question for you, man.
Yeah.
Because I think this is debatable. Which is faster, bottom line or the top line? What do you think?
Top's fastest, but it's going to kill your tires.
Okay. So
if you see people losing drive off on the top, it's because they've overheated their right rear.
Okay, but do you need a strong bottom set to win this race? Do you think the race is won from a good set up top, or do you think the bottom set is the one you really want to have if you want to win this thing?
See, it's kind of difficult for me to say that because I didn't really have to do any passing of any kind. But I know that if my car was anything to go by, something that works on the bottom is basically going to be good everywhere, and that's, you can save a lot of tire by running the bottom and not making the right rear angry. And I think that's worth a lot, especially if somebody tries to do what I did, which was do the full 100 on single set.
Right.
I think you definitely want to be there.
Yeah, and that's these short tracks. Don't make the right rear angry. Thanks, Christian.
That was Christian Challenger. Actually won over in the European region, but we finished up the warm-up, so let's go through our starting grid at this point as it gets populated. This is, again, Heat 1. Up at the top, it is going to be Taft Baldwin, followed by Trevor Clement. Then you've got Lance Nasir starting 3rd. Eric Smith will be P4. Daniel Knight rounds out your top 5. Outside of row 3, going to be Ryan Worley. He's usually good on ovals. Andrew Oakey will be starting 7th. Gary Nichols 8th. And Brian McGreevy will be starting 9th. And one of Bill's favorites, Liam Quinn, rounds out your top 10. Bill?
He's got fenders on his car, but he's still good. Houston Hamer's going to be in the 11th position inside of Bryce Roberts. In the Baker's Dozen spot is Clark Archer. Leif Peterson, we got some information about him in the 14th position back there. 15th, Paul Slavonic. He's going to be inside of Wade Hayes. Brian Barnes in his, well, he's not in the popsicle machine, but it is that Still for Larson blue number 04 out there in 17th. Last car on the grid, Joshua Kanata.
So as you can see, the heat's going to be a little bit smaller, and then we'll pick up more and more cars until the A main, the big show. As they work their way around behind the Mustang pace car. Going to be 2 laps here in the warm-up for this first heat, for all the heats really, this short oval.
I can relate to what Christian Challenger had to say when he said he didn't have to pass many people. I had the same situation when I raced, but for different reasons.
Hey, can I say it real quick? It's Bristol, baby. Let's do this.
I figured you'd get that in at some point. First pace lap done. We've got a little bit of time, so real quick, let's go to Bill first. Who's your pick for this first heat to win?
I like Trevor Clement because I like the way his car is numbered. He's racing in the 111. It kind of looks like the Roman numeral 3, so I'll go with that guy.
Good. Can't recover from that.
You got half
Give
a
me
lap,
Taft.
Sean.
Give me Taft.
Okay. The good news is the 111 means that Bill cannot screw that number up looking at it either side. So,
yep.
All right, we're coming into 3 and 4. Welcome to the majors. This is round 4. It is going to be Taft Baldwin leading them away from the pole. Green flag is out. Taft gets a good jump, in fact, a good enough jump that Lance Nasir is already slotting into second place from third, and he shuffles up to the high side, apparently likes that one. Taft Baldwin looking at the low side here early on. The 111, who was in second place, now in third and having to fight for it, is also running the high side with Daniel Knight challenging him. Now he switches down low, Sean.
Switches down low, looking for a spot to get in there, maybe present a fender. Moves going on in the back of the field. McGreevy trying to get on Nichols. And it happens right in front of them.
That's
Andrew
Eric
Oakey
Smith.
involved in that one.
Smith and Oakey, the two that come together. No cautions, remember, in these heats. And Smith just going to stay down low. I guess his race now over.
They might have avoided a caution there, actually. They didn't, neither one of them come back into the racing line, even though the cautions are off. But
And what that does is that brings Brian McGreevy now up into 6th position as they bite with Gary Nichols. They're side by side for the transfer spot.
oh, we got
Trying
another
to get in
spinner
there.
on the front stretch.
Oh, it's Hamer. And he gets plowed into by Leif Peterson. The 913.
Leaf had nowhere to go.
Yep. It is still Baldwin up at the front. Again, we're looking for 6 drivers to advance. Baldwin ahead of Nasir, Clement, Knight, Worley, and McGreevy currently safe. McGreevy, though, has a nice little fight with Nichols and Roberts behind him.
Nichols in the transfer spot, racing in 7th. Robert trying to get there. I love this Ben-Hur style racing. You crash, you just keep going.
Dump up to the side and go.
That's right.
Ooh,
Joe,
top. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Nasir is really diving it in there. And he's trying to, what we do in the oval track race, we call the old diamond trick. He runs it up high to the center of the turn and then comes down the hill, trying to get a run at Baldwin. But Baldwin's dialed in. He's not flinching up here.
Now, diamonds might be forever, but what does that method do to the tires? Because we heard a lot about that from Christian, the talk of watching out for your tires. Is the diamonding going to hurt it?
Well, you do have a chance. You do have a tendency to drive it off that right rear a little bit harder when you're doing that, and that can happen. But this is only a 25-lap race, so Baldwin's got Nasir's got a shot here if he can make it work and keep Trevor Clement out of his mirror.
Just to correct myself, 7 cars transfer in these heats.
Right now, Gary Nichols is in that transfer spot, but Bryce Roberts, he's been working on him every lap. Roberts back there in the 23 has been making stab after stab after stab, just can't finish the job.
Might have saw a few sparks. That's because the 08 of Nichols actually brushed the wall coming off of 4. No harm, no foul, though. Didn't lose too much speed. So he's got to be getting a little bit desperate for Bryce. These heat races go fast. We're already halfway through.
And Bryce almost lost it off 4, and he's up in the wall again.
Actually, he's down below now. Looking underneath Gary Nichols. Can't quite make it stick.
Got my numbers mixed up. That was Archer that was up in the wall. Sorry, Clark.
Man, he is working hard, though. Roberts really trying to do it. And I think this has kind of changed the dynamic up front with Baldwin and Nasir and Clement. Yeah, they're close together, but I think they're happy to know that they're
Oh!
He hits him, he turns them. Is he going to straighten them out? No, they both end up in the parking lot. They're both going to lose spots.
He tried to get him turned, and they're still stuck together. Oh, this is a comedy of errors. They're going to be in the way of the leaders here in a moment. Oh, they just get out of the way in time.
You see them scrambling to try to get back down on the track as we go to this replay here. They're going to get together coming off of 4, Joe.
Yep, this is unfortunately not how I think he wanted this pass to go.
I thought it was going to work out okay there for the longest time, and then they just could not get it sorted.
They were trying to unhook from one another, and even once they did, still just stuck together. Thankfully, they did not interrupt the leaders, which is still a very tight fight. Taft Baldwin, Lance Nasir, Trevor Clement, and Daniel Knight are just all strung together, and they've tried to make passes. Nobody's been successful recently. They're all running different lines, fascinatingly.
They're all behaving. Can we go back to the 7th to the transfer pod? This is now Liam Quinn. And they're coming on both sides. Brian Barnes working on the high side, trying to get around. Paul Slavonic trying to work on the low side. Quinn making that car as wide as he can. Here they come.
Sue Quinn is as cool as the other side of the pillow right now. He's not opening the door for these guys at all. Look at him. Goes down the track there. Just takes the nose right there off of Barnes.
Lap car.
Barnes got to run, though. That's a lap car. They're coming up on the 360 there of Houston Hamer.
We're still just trying to run. Oh, Quinn into the wall. And that's going to open the door for that car of Brian Barnes down below the number 4. And he's boxed in on the high side. They're going to go 3 wide. In the middle, Quinn tries to get the shot off the corner, but he just clips the lap car. The lap car now tumbling over.
Yeah, Hamer. Be quiet.
Oh,
Okay.
there was nowhere to put the car. I'm going to come to the defense. I mean, although maybe he should have been out there racing, but if you're going to be racing, man, it's hard to get out of the way on this track.
Meanwhile, Quinn not over with it yet. Wade Hayes taking a little bit of a look. A lot of contact from the number 24, but thankfully Quinn does not need a medicine woman quite yet. Now he's going to get passed down to the inside as Hayes. Oh, and something's... What's that?
Taft for the win here, Joe. He's
Taft.
made up on easy.
Yeah, we got so caught up in the action. Taft takes the win, and the last car to get through is going to be Brian Barnes.
Woo!
So with everybody through, let's go through our finishing order. As we said, Taft Baldwin taking the victory with Lance Nasir in second place behind him. Daniel Knight also advances. Trevor Clement will go over in fourth. Ryan Worley with a top 5. Brian McGreevy will finish in 6th. And Brian Barnes taking 7th. The last car to slip through, Liam Quinn. Unfortunately, that little bit of contact denied him the chance. Wade Hayes finishes P9. Josh Kanata rounds out your top 10. Bill?
Mr. and Mrs. McGreevy always watch our races. Your son made it to the A main there. Let's go down to 11th position. That is Andrew Oakey. He's going to have to wait till we get to the last chance qualifier. Paul Slavonic, Bryce Roberts after that. Gary Nichols, Clark Archer, Houston Hamer. He was on his lid for a while. Leif Peterson and Eric Smith, who sits well up in the points, qualified 4th. He's going to have to earn his way into the points.
All right, we said we have, speaking of points, we have more of them to cover. So, Bill, we've got another set. I know we did the drivers. What are we looking at for the second one that we're going to update people on?
I would imagine we're going to probably talk about the teams. Now, this is interesting. Remember, they have all these drivers on the teams, multiple drivers score points. Look at that, 3,137 points. Boy, that's a lot, right? Well, that really gives you an impression of how close the team point rate is. It's only 24 points difference when you consider that there's over 3,000 awarded. That 24 is basically nothing. Riding Shotgun Motorsports, the Outlaw guys, sit in second behind the Apex Racing Group from the Americas. Kinetic Americas, they're back there in third spot. Alliance Racing, the Alliance guys are having a hard time getting it going. There's a lot of them, but man, so far Slavonic, Callisto, Bennett, Clement, and Thunhorse doing that in 4th position. That's the best they can do. And hey, making the overlay on Orthodox Motorsports. That's the factory team. We talked about McGreevy. He is into the qualify. He's into the to the A main, so he's going to get points there. You see them in 5th position.
We've got our winner of this first heat ready to talk to us. Taft Baldwin has ducked in. So, Taft, you started it on pole. You finished it in 1st. Did it look as easy as that makes it sound?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. No, we made some adjustments, and I think we had too much stagger in the rear. I think all 3 of us were pretty loose there, about the 10 to go, kind of just babying.
It certainly looked like they were keeping you honest back there from 3rd down to 4th, Nasir, Knight, and Clement. Were you ever worried about the lead? If they had a go at you, were you just going to give it up since you knew you just need to advance at this point?
Yeah, because they're teammates, probably. I think if it would have been Trevor, I probably would have run him a little harder just because I think that starting on pole is probably going to be the best place to be in the main.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job out there. This bodes well, at least for your chances in the main. You can sit back and enjoy the rest. Will you and your team get together and start trading notes, or is this a time for you to kind of step away from the computer?
A little of both. We already kind of debriefed, and I'm going to step away for a minute, say hi to the wife and kids before I jump back into the car.
All right. Well, we'll let you go relax. Congratulations on a win.
Thanks, Jeff.
Pat Baldwin, winner in the first heat. I believe we're getting ready for the second heat here soon as the session is up. And myself making sure I try and get over there. So, Sean, we talked a lot about tires in the pre-race. We've now had some experience. You've gotten to watch these drivers go at it. What are your thoughts? What do you see? What did you see as far as how the handling looked by the end of that thing?
Okay, what we saw is about 20 laps. There's a fall off. Okay, honestly, the data, a little bit of research I've done, they actually fall off about 4/10. You're losing about 4/10 at about that 20 lap mark, somewhere in that 20 to 30 window. It means when we get into the main, I mean, you're going to have a couple different strategies at play, mainly between the first half of the field and the back half or quarter of the field. So with that, you might see leaders come in not until around 30 to 50 laps at some point. They may try and stay out on those old tires. What you're going to see is guys at the back, they're probably going to come in every chance they get to try and gain those valuable positions. If we get a caution-filled race, that could help them out. If we get a race that goes green and we get the nice long green flag runs, it's going to be hard to make up any ground if you lose it. Once you get lapped here, you're in trouble. It doesn't take long if you're off pace. Again, at that 20 to 30, you're going to lose. You're already losing 4/10. If you're off pace to start a half a second, you're in big trouble because, well, we've seen the times. We know it doesn't take long to get around here. Just under 15 seconds. Do the math. It doesn't. When you're losing a half a second per lap, it doesn't take long to see the leader in your mirror.
Yeah, and that's going to play a big part, I imagine, of the A-main. Now, Bill, one of the fascinating things is we don't have Blake here for this event, but naturally, because Challenger's now competing in a different region, we don't have him here either. So, for once, we've got an oval race it's kind of wide open.
This is good. In fact, to pull back the curtain here a little bit, we have to sign out of a session and come back in, and the first name I look for, I didn't see Blake in the first qualifier. I go, well, okay, he'll be down here. I'll just look for his name. Didn't find him here. So, yeah, this opens up the door. Watch out, I'm telling you, for Steve Driscoll. He is an underrated driver. I think this could be his night overall.
All right, we'll watch out for him. The warm-up is now finished here in our second heat. So let's bring you the starting order for this next one. The grid going to have Travis Warling up on the pole. He's known to be pretty fast here in short tracks. Kevin O'Keefe will be second, and Matthew Thunhorst will start third. Even though it's got Richie Hearn on here, unfortunately, he's had internet issues. He will not be able to start this race. James Milbachler is going to be starting fifth. Lionel Kalisto could be an underdog, a dark horse here. He'll be starting P6. Tucker Minter seventh, and Brian Grandin eighth. Steve Driscoll will be P9, and Cody Wyman will start 10th. Bill?
Sorry to interrupt you. I always get excited to see Little Train racing here. In 11th, it is Patrick Fleming. Now, these guys are going to have to work their way up because they are out of the transfer position. William Fletcher behind him. Mark Herzog in the Baker's Dozen position. He's going to be inside of Bob Beltrami. Mark Torres in 15th position. All ribbons and curls ready to race in the Sweet 16 spot is Rory Collins. Ross Banfield down there, Banfield in 17th position inside of Stephen Paulson. Jimbo Pfeiffer, my goodness, what is he doing down in 19th, just inside of Jeff Schmeier?
Now, in case we get the giggles for Sean again, let's start a little earlier. Soup, who's your pick?
Okay, he's too far to get there, but watch for Steve Driscoll. He is in 9th position. Look for him finish inside the top 5 and then be a real force when we get to the A-main.
I've seen Travis Warling run around ovals before. I'm taking Warling.
The poll for the easy pick, I suppose. Kevin O'Keefe, though, on the outside of him. Now, this is interesting. O'Keefe, who has shown well in many of the majors races, has yet to win one. Both he and Richie Hearn were kind of Another couple dark horses for Elite West, both having not won their first majors race. Obviously, Hearn's not going to be able to do it today, but maybe this will increase O'Keefe's chances. He can't do it here quite yet, but clearly has good pace considering he qualified for this heat all the way up on the front row. Got just half a lap to go here for Heat 2. You are watching the majors. This is the Americas region for round 4 here for the Short Track Nationals Super Late Models at Bristol Motor Speedway. Through turn 4, the Mustang pace car going to peel off. Travis Whirling going to have control, although O'Keefe, he's way far up. He's going to have to wait. Well, that's going to hurt him horribly. Look at the checkup behind him, almost going 3 wide in some cases, but they sort it out in the end.
Rutger Kev is a lawyer, and he was really taking advantage of any laws he could try to break there on that one. As he falls back now. Now he's back up in the second. Look at him look at the top line.
Yeah, he got a good shot off at turn 2. And Sean, this is looking really good for O'Keefe, but he's got this car running.
He certainly does, Joe. Let's see if he can keep it up throughout the run. That's the risk here running this top line. But honestly, I think you're going to see most drivers try and fight up there. I think that's what we heard from Christian. I think that's where they feel like they've got the best chance, Joe.
Still running the top line, even though he's clear, so he likes it up there. Whirling, dropping back all the way to third now is second, overtaken by Thunhorst.
And Travis gets a little help, a little bit of the chrome horn laid to him there.
Yeah, Brian Grandin had to check up. He lost a number of positions. He's now out of the transfer spot. That's Wyman ahead of him who takes that over. Grandin down to 8th. Wow, and Whirling continues to fall down. What is going on here? He's all the way to 6th. He's in trouble now.
Joe. Well, he can't find the spot to get in, and I'm wondering if that's just setup dictated. I wonder if he just can't run up there. Maybe they missed the mark on the set.
They might be noticing. Oh, and we had a problem with Patrick Fleming. That was one of our Alliance cars.
Yeah.
311 turned around and gets it going once more.
Well, I'm telling you, we're looking at the battle that is of interest right now. That's Brian Grandin trying to get underneath Whirling. That's for the transfer position. Sean, you may have it. That Whirling's car may be great, maybe on a longer run, but he's got to be quick enough to get to that without having to get to that A-main here.
I'm wondering if maybe the sprint, the heat race set didn't get put in, and maybe the race set's in, and that could be 2 different sets.
Watch out for the number 2. Callisto goes around, gets a little tap from Wyman going by.
Oh boy.
Let's take a look at the replay. Ever since he's had his championship, seems like Callisto can't catch a break. That was the 989.
That was just a small tap there. A very slight tap from Tucker Minter.
So that promotes Minter up to 4th. A few more cars shuffling around in the back.
Big pile of Brian Grandin and Mark Torres get together in a big pile up.
Wow.
Let's take a look at this. Number 38 is Grandin. You see on the bottom side, he just gets loose.
Yeah, he was straddling the apron, Joe. Not a great place to be.
So in all this, we've now got Kevin O'Keefe leading. Thunhorst is trying to chase him down, mind you, and he's very close as we look back out of the rear of Kevin O'Keefe. What we can't see is ahead of them, we've got some lap traffic coming up.
Indeed.
Thunhorst almost slapped doors with Mark Torres as he was getting by. That'd have been big trouble.
You might notice a very large presence of yellow and black cars. Did Fletcher have a problem too? He's taken the pits. But all these yellow and black cars, if you're new, well, that is Alliance, and they have the biggest presence we see here today. So any teams who were hoping to try and end the dominance of the Alliance team, it doesn't look as likely that.
Thunhorst going to the bottom.
But he's coming back. O'Keefe trying to come to the high side. Thunhorst holds down low. Now O'Keefe moves to the bottom. And I think he's solidified it. The 98 to the top spot with 9 to go. Behind them, a little bit of side-by-side action as Minter is trying to get by Milbacher.
Sean Warling stopped the bleeding. He's able to lock into 5th position. He looks good to transfer.
Well, again, the car has gotten faster as the run's gone on. His lap times have come down. So now he's got the car he wants, and he's, well, provided he didn't have any trouble, I mean, he's in a good spot here to transfer. So,
yeah, right now the last car to escape the chop is the Salami, and the number 14 sits in 7th with a handicap back to Herzog.
Super, you gonna stand for that?
He's got to stop it. He's coming. Beltrami coming up on the back of Wyman right now, but he's comfortable. I don't think he's going to force the issue. Herzog back there racing in his familiar 57. Don't think he's going to get there with only 5 to go.
Doesn't look like he's strong enough. If I was Beltrami, though, I wouldn't get in too much of a tangle with the number 331. He's going to advance along, and we've got very few laps to go with a safe bit of comfort behind him.
I know there's only 3 to go, but man, Minter, he seems to be fighting awful hard for 3rd here.
He sure does.
It does affect your positions in the main. So if you're worried about that much, it is worth fighting. It all depends on where your priorities lie as he ducks down to the inside. We're down to 2 to go. He's running out of chances as he can't get the shot off the corner. Not too far behind our leader. The white flag waves for Matthew Thunhorst, who managed to overtake O'Keefe. He was 3rd on the grid, but it looks like he's going to be able to take 1st in the second heat race. Number 98 around the last 2 corners of this heat race is going to win here in Heat 2.
Minter and Warling get together at the line just before the line.
Take a look at that.
That was fun.
That was well, that was actually Minter and Milbacher.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Warling, our pole sitter, did wind up in 5th, though. We're just watching the replay before we go through the results.
And after that, on the back straight, Minter gave him a little bit of a tap and turned him around. Maybe it was playful. Maybe he was saying something.
All right, let's take a look.
It's been chippy, guys. Trust me. 2 races. It's been chippy.
Let's take a look at the finishing order. As we mentioned, Matthew Thunhorst going to win this second heat and advance to the A main. Kevin O'Keefe will follow him from P2. James Milbacher, in P3. Tucker Minter, who gave a little touch at the end, he came from 7th to 4th, and then a reverse position for Travis Warling, going from the lead at the start all the way down to 5th. But he'll still get through to the A main. Cody Wyman will follow him through as well into 6th. Bob Beltrami, how about this? From 14th to 7th to climb his way into the A main without having to sweat it. Then you've got Mark Herzog, who unfortunately will have to fight his way to the big show in 8th, Ross Banfield 9th, and Rory Collins rounding out your top 10. Bill?
In 11th position, it is Jimbo Pfeiffer, an example of how I put my bookie's children through college. My pick, Steve Driscoll, comes home in 12th. Jeff Schmeimer in the Baker's Dozen position, Stephen Paulson behind him. Then the guys who ran into trouble, Lionel Calisto, Mark Torres, Patrick Fleming, William Fletcher, Brian Grandin, and, well, of course, Richie Hearn didn't race. There you have it.
We've got our winner ready to talk to us, Matthew Thunhorst. And as we pull him in, Matt, congratulations on the victory. You didn't start out in the lead. You had to wait patiently for it, but you made it effective once you got by O'Keefe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't really, once we got clear of Travis, I didn't want to make a move because I know Minter and Malbacher back there are both specialists, and I figured if I made a move early and it kind of backfired, I'd find myself from going, fighting for the lead to maybe outside of a transfer real quick, so I wanted to bide my time there, and I kind of missed the setup a little bit. It wouldn't work the bottom very well in 3 and 4, so that's why I tried it and kept migrating back up, but when I made a move on O'Keefe, I don't know if he was going 100%. He was just playing his cards safe, and I don't know, when I made the move, the car stuck, and I was surprised I had made the move so effective.
And speaking of the setups, we saw our pole sitter completely lose out at the start, fall all the way to, I believe, 7th at one point, eventually come back to 5th. I mean, your thoughts on that? Because since you got to see it right there up front and experience out on the track, any idea why the number 90 had such different fortune from you?
I'm not really sure. I was a little shocked at how long he had waited because of the Crescent Bank and the high side so effective. So I was shocked he waited and basically gave away the ability to get up there and wait until the start. And I was a little surprised at how he wasn't really firing off that hard. And I know there was once or twice where Malbacher almost ran me over trying to not end the checkup. So not really sure. I know Warland, he's a pretty dang good driver when we get to these short tracks. So I don't know. Maybe he had the car too tight or something. I'm not sure.
Well, this will certainly help you on your way towards the A main. You are through. Again, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in the big show.
Thank you much, Joe.
That was Matthew Thunhorst, winner here in Heat 2. And getting ready for, I believe, the last chance qualifier up next, if I see the order correctly. Am I right? Yes, we are up next for that. We're going to take a quick break since we've been going quite a bit here for these first 2 heats, but we've got some good racing happening here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Stick around for the last chance qualifier here in round 4 of the majors. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. You're watching the majors. It's the Short Track Nationals, round 4 in the 2019 season. The Americas region has put on a pretty good show so far, but this is where it all counts for many of these drivers because it's the last chance qualifier. They've got to get through the top 6 to get to the big show on this one. Before we talk about that, we do have a couple more points to discuss. Bill's got the next one ready to go. Bill, what are we looking at?
Going to look at the sportsman. Kind of looks like 4th of July there with all the American flags on this overlay. Now, you'll notice we don't have up or down points move on this one because this is the first time we've been tracking them this season. But these are important because even though we don't get to see these guys racing on the broadcast all the time because they don't make the top split, they can still score points for their team. Adam Lundgren sits at the top of the charts. Josh Cully down there. Now, there's an Alliance Evolution racer. Also in 4th position, Dan Garber, Alliance Core Racing. We talked about Alliance having such a big armada of drivers here. In 3rd position is Kyle Murphy, and then rounding out your overlay, one of the few independent drivers. Somebody give Brian Hollick a call and get him signed up to a team. He's down there 5th in the sportsman.
And I think we've got one more to go. We've got our last points, so
let's do it.
This was the legends. Your favorite?
These are the old timers. The Ben Gabe category here. Jimbo Pfeiffer leading the way, 912 points. Again, all Americans on this one. These are usually the same guys every week, every season. We see the same guys. Brian Bennett, Wayne Hutchinson. They will swap around positions, but pretty much it's the same group of guys. Clark Archer. And there he is, the pastrami, Bob Beltrami, down there in 5th, making the overlay.
All right. Warm-up still working its way around. And Sean, now, when we were at Daytona, we talked about teams playing a part in these oval races. And I mentioned quickly, there you see some of our Alliance drivers trying to get through the last chance qualifier. But we've also got the likes of V-Apex, Ride and Shotgun, Kinetic, of course, some of our big players. How much does teams play a part here at short track racing? Is it as important, or is it kind of more every man for himself?
Well, it is pretty much every man for himself, but yeah, okay, so you can use a teammate as defense. If that teammate's somehow fallen back and you need a little help, I mean, it's not hard to make a car wide at Bristol Motor Speedway. And you can hold somebody that's chasing your teammate up a little bit. That could work in your advantage. I mean, this team's championship is a legitimate battle in the majors every season. And yeah, teammates can work together, especially a track like this, Bristol, where there aren't a lot of places to hide. You know, we saw in that first race what happens when the lap traffic gets a little off pace. They're in the way, Joe, and that's something to think about when we're talking about team racing at a track like Bristol.
Looking through our points and kind of getting an idea of really who needs to get through here. One that strikes me is Jimbo Pfeiffer. I believe he's in the top 10, or at least close to the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. But as Bill mentioned, kind of surprised to see him struggle a little bit. He's going to be coming in trying to squeeze through to the A main here in this last race. There you see the double O.
Even more than that, how about Eric Smith? He sits 2nd in the points, and he's going to have to struggle to get him into this into the A main as well.
And certainly the number 32 is going to feel the pressure. It is a longer race. Cautions are on in this one, we should point out. So you do have opportunities to catch up. Maybe that'll give us a few more cars finishing on the lead lap. So 50-lap race. Sean, tires, do you take any? Are pit stops going to be a thing?
Well, Joe, the cautions are on. Yeah. This goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier in the broadcast, okay? You're sitting somewhere in the back 3rd of the pack, or even the back half. You got to make a move. This is the LCQ, okay? You got to get up there, and fresh tires are always going to give you an advantage. Always going to give you an advantage here. It doesn't take long to get the tires warmed up and hot. Now, this is where it goes the other way. The more cautions we get, Okay, that benefits the leaders because these tires do cool off during the caution laps, and those cars get faster again. So, yeah, it's we'll see how the yellow laundry works out here. I think that's going to be the biggest factor in this LCQ.
As a driver, I've found that I'm very hard to get around on the track during a yellow flag. So, I'm always a fan of that.
Just a quick reminder once again that our charity for this race is the Jeff Gordon's Children's Foundation. And if you want to look up more information or even donate to them, you can go to jeffgordonchildrensfoundation.org. Big thanks to Kelly for nominating that. Obviously, with this being a track that saw a lot of Jeff Gordon over the years, it seems very appropriate.
Yeah, it really is a fitting charity, isn't it? Go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, Jeff Gordon didn't have too bad a career here either. He definitely found his way to victory lane a few times, both the spring and the late summer races here.
There you see, the warm-up is over, so let's go through our starting grid for the last chance qualifier. Liam Quinn going to be on the pole with Mark Herzog starting next to him. Then in row 2, Ross Banfield starts in 3rd. Wade Hayes will be P4. Joshua Kanata will be 5th, and then P6 goes to Rory Collins. Andrew Oakey will be 7th. The outside of that row belongs to Jimbo Pfeiffer in 8th. Steve Driscoll starts 9th. And Bill, top 10, rounded out by Paul Slavonic.
Jeff, light my fire. Schmeier in the 11th position. He's going to be inside of Bryce Roberts. Steve Paulson and Gary Nichols make up the next row. Little Train, he's got some work to do. Lionel Kalisto back in 15th position. All ribbons and curls in 16th is Clark Archer. Houston Hamer had some issues in the qualifier back in 17th. Mark Torres. Then these guys are going to be really hard to get there. Patrick Fleming, Leif Peterson, Eric. We talked about Eric Smith. He's starting 21st. There's no way he's getting to the final event here today. William Fletcher in 22nd. Brian Grandin round out your 23-car field.
All right, fellas. This is why Cale Yarborough, I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, one of my favorite drivers. Won 8 races here. Jeff only won 5. Average finish of 8th. Average starting spot of just over 12th. So, winner, Cale Yarborough. But no, Jeff had an illustrious career. 47 races at Bristol. That gives me a headache just thinking about racing this track 47 times.
But Jeff Gordon never raced at the Indianapolis 500, did he, like Cale Yarborough did in 1972? And the Indy 500 is on the schedule here in the majors this season.
I honestly thought Gordon would run that someday, Joe.
I thought so,
I
too.
thought so, too.
Yeah.
That's where he was pointed before he found success in NASCAR.
Sure,
He
yeah.
wanted to do open wheels. So, yeah, I kind of expected him to eventually, and a little sad that he retired before he ever did. Who knows? Maybe he'll hop back in the car someday.
No.
But right now, we're going to watch these cars work their way around a much smaller track as the Mustang pace car comes around 3 and 4. Liam Quinn has control of the field. He's trying to get to the A main. He immediately goes, no wait, this time through. The number 24 immediately finding himself out into the lead. They single file for the top 3, but it is 2 by 2 behind them.
Boy, back for that transfer spot. It is really tough. Oakey in 6th position. Hayes back there as well, now in 6th. Trying to get in there. Hey, there's my guy, Steve Driscoll, in the hunt.
Driscoll working that high side. As, low side is number 51. Seeing what he can do to try and keep in this. The number 77 fending off a lot of cars in front of them. That is Ross Banfield. Oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh, what a big junk. Oh, we've got a car upside down. That's Steve Paulson.
It started with Collins and Wade Hayes get together. You're going to see here on the replay, and then everything stacks up behind him. Man.
Jimbo Pfeiffer, that's the 00 that got in there. He just had nowhere to go. He ends up in pit lane.
And ironically, Collins actually spins around to the bottom. There you can see Paulson winding up on his lid. And that actually saved Rory because all the mess happened above him. Let's see, we're riding on board with Torres. You're going to get a good view of all of that.
think Torres got all he wanted of that and more. Another shot of it from above.
So this did send Paulison in, obviously, but also Jimbo Pfeiffer headed to the pits for some damage repair. Wow, we're almost 4 or 5 wide at one point. This put a lot of damage on quite a few cars. But we've still got 21 of them out there running.
Too soon. Nobody's going to come in, Joe. Too soon.
Only on lap 5, and that's after we've had a lap and some of caution. But this is putting Jimbo Pfeiffer a lap down.
Sean, a large part of our GSRC weekly check comes from you and I working together on the Bootleg Racing League, where we cover short track racing. And there it's always interesting. Do you start on the low side or the high side? I don't know if it's an advantage to be down low here today. At least early on
well,
these.
It's a single file restart on these, so
shouldn't
be an issue. Yeah.
Well, then we don't have that issue.
Yeah,
you can start the only side. So Liam Quinn just waiting for the pace car lights to go out to get this restarted himself.
So basically, Soup, not on the left side, not on the right side, but right in the middle.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, then my plan would be to start close to the car in front of me. Then this would be my strategy.
That sounds like a good plan, Bill.
Yeah.
Master of strategy once again.
That's it.
And the lights are, in fact, out, so we're going racing next time by. It's going to be Liam Quinn leading Mark Herzog, Ross Banfield will be starting in 3rd, Andrew Oakey 4th, Josh Kanata 5th. Last car so far that we'll get through is Steve Driscoll. That will, of course, probably change as the race goes on. We'll find out soon enough. Liam Quinn gets the green flag. Gets a good shot off the final corner. He puts a gap over Mark Herzog. Not so for the 777 of Banfield. He's already got Andrew Oakey down to his inside through 1 and 2. Can't get the shot off the corner.
Whoa, what a start.
Banfield made an attack on, or Oakey made an attack on Banfield. That didn't work.
And I tell you what, it is already getting pretty late in the day. You can see with the stands completely surrounding the course, it has gotten very, very dark out on track. Cooling down to 87 degrees as we ride on board with Oakey.
Man, Slavonic just made a monster pass back here around the little train.
Don't need to go there, but Driscoll picks up a spot. He moves up into 5th spot. Kanata now in the transfer position.
And actually, he's under threat because Jeff Schmeier not too far behind. You can see he's desperately trying to get back by Steve Driscoll already. See a line of cars back there as we ride on board with Josh Kanata, our last transfer position. Still behind Driscoll. His only saving grace is that the cars behind are starting to fight, and that is losing them a little ground. It's Wade Hayes in there trying to find his way past Jeff Schmeier, but now he's got to worry about Paul Slavonic, who's using the high side. Oh, and Liam Quinn.
Yeah. Oh,
that was our
spin
leader
for Quinn. Yes, it was. The car does not spin into the racing line. We stay green.
You got help.
Herzog.
Yeah.
24 finds himself sent all the way to the back, but on the lead lap.
Somebody's not getting a Christmas card.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Alliance versus Kinetic. That's
yeah. A big thank you though from Jeff Schmeier to Herzog now, because now Schmeier is in that transfer spot.
Guess he's smiling now.
Yes, he is. Well, for right now, here comes Paul Slavonic underneath him. This is a great battle back here for 6th.
And Slavonic, he's got a nose ahead, but can he carry the speed on that low side? He's trying. Down into the corner, a little slow, but off the corner, looking actually pretty good. Paul Slavonic has got 6th for the moment, but can he slide up to the top side? Now he can. Nicely done. Oh, but an accident behind
Bryce
him.
Roberts got into Schmeier.
And that does bring out the caution.
And Gary Nichols collects him going by.
Another car upside down. That's Rory Collins. Seem to recall Rory Collins getting into a big accident in his heat, too. Yeah, just
Collins
no way to stop the car.
Yeah, it's just pinched there. It pinched up there, nowhere to go.
And then Clark Archer gave him the final push to turn him over.
He's on board with Collins. Gonna go for a wild ride. Sees the car spinning. Oh yeah, he'd picked the high side, and at that point, there's really no saving it. Almost climbs the fence. Now, we talked about pit strategy and what to do if you're in last place. Now, what if you were the pole sitter and in last place, Sean? Because look at this.
If you were the pole sitter in your last place right now, get some new shoes. Yep. Come on in.
That's exactly what Quinn's doing. Yeah, there you see him.
Doing.
Taking advantage of the fact that the yellow flag means he will be tucked up behind the rest of the pack. All that ground that he lost has been regained. Oh, but this is a long stop. These cars known for going a little while to get shoes, and there we go, just in time.
Well, Sean, can he get there? He's the fastest. Well, I'm not sure he's the fastest, but he's certainly competitive. We got 30 laps of racing, yellow flags, maybe.
Maybe soon.
Tall order, huh?
Yeah, boy, it's an awful.
He has to get to 6.
Order. Yeah, exactly, Joe.
That's
he does only have to get to 6, so we'll see. If we go caution free to the end, I certainly like his chances. That's you can make a run through the field. I mean, we've seen several drivers do it already. I mean, Slavonic been fast. The little train's gotten up several spots, so it's just a matter of working at it.
I think he needs one caution. I think he needs one. Split this up. I think he needs to pick up some spots and then have a caution, bring everybody all together, and then take another run at it. Doesn't want too many. Doesn't want too few.
He may also get the benefit. The next caution may bring more drivers in.
Yeah.
And then he picks up spots there immediately. So
yeah, well, we're seeing him crash in bundles, 4 or 5 car combinations. So yeah.
Still waiting for those lights to go out. Right now, the transfer spots belong to Herzog, Banfield, Driscoll, Oki, Kanata, and Slavonic. First driver not going to advance is Jeff Schmeier. We keep saying advance. They will go to a B main, but of course, the drivers will get more points if they go to the A main. That's where everybody wants to be. And then there's always the pride of having been one of the few drivers to have won a majors race. The lights go out on the pace car. This is the drivers have been touting, Sean, this one of the more chaotic ones that give a good opportunity for the less likely drivers to get that big win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always compare Bristol to super speedway racing, to be honest with you, because it really is. It's the great Coliseum. It's also the great crapshoot. You really you gotta have a little bit. You gotta have Lady Luck riding on your shoulder here at Bristol. It's a big part of winning here.
All right, is Lady Luck with Herzog. He's currently in the number 57, going to lead them back to green. He accelerates away. The 777 doesn't get a great jump, and that means Steve Driscoll immediately going to look to the low side, the number 51, seeing if he could move himself into P2. And if he wants to slide up, he could here. He stays low. Now he gets into the racing line. That purple car did a beautiful job early on the restart.
I thought it was going to be good. He didn't show me much in the qualifier. Now he's showing me what I thought he had under the hood there.
And Gary Nichols is going backwards very fast. I'm not sure why. Also, Schmeier is ahead of Slavonic. Schmeier now up into P6, or is he?
Well,
he was for a moment. Yeah, they're side by side.
Slavonic on the low side, Schmeier on the high side. Schmeier's going to get credit with leading this lap.
Bad news for him is that is two.
He put it in the wall.
Flash of sparks. Jeff Schmeier doesn't lose a spot, though. He stays in 6, but he's got to deal with 2 Alliance cars, 2 very hungry Alliance cars, Slavonic and Callisto. Slavonic already trying to answer him, getting his nose in down low. That's what got the position for Jeff Meyer. Can he return the favor? Not going to be this lap.
Are we supposed to refer to Paul as noted author Paul Slavonic? I'm just kidding.
Hey, we got a pass for the lead.
Driscoll on a roll.
Oh,
Well, Bill, it took you a while, but I mean, predictions are finally starting to bear out.
get him up front. Got to work that low side.
Herzog's making a work for it. This is bringing Andrew Oakey into the another wash of sparks for the 57, brushing the wall.
Now, from what I learned from listening to our interview there, that 57 using up his tires up there.
And unfortunately, speaking of tires, the new tires from Liam Quinn hasn't done as much as he maybe would have wanted. He's still stuck in 15th as his battle for the lead continues. Driscoll in the purple number 51, Herzog in the black number 57. Behind them, the yellow number 96 of Andrew Oakey, sitting in the popcorn position. He actually is about to be joined by Banfield in the 777 too.
Yeah, that too wide racing is slowing him down. Driscoll, now you're clear. I'm telling you, you're clear, baby.
Could drift up if he wants to. He thinks about it. Oh! Ghost contact between them. He gets turned around. The 57 continues on, and yellow comes out.
That's why you should never have a commentator be your spotter.
Well, I think he needed to wash up a little sooner, it looked like. I don't know. Sean, your thoughts? You're the short track guy here.
I don't know. It looked like he did clip the apron. Here we go again. Does he get enough of the apron? I think it's the apron right there that shot him up the track, and he tried to catch it, obviously, and that second adjustment of the wheel put him into him.
He didn't actually go all the way to the back. Driscoll's still higher up than Liam Quinn even after that. He returns in 9th. Quinn is still in 15th. He didn't get any positions since we last spoke on it.
There was a slight wiggle there. You see it on camera when we're looking at that view. The car made a slight wiggle, and that was just enough. Driscoll got out of shape just enough for that brief millisecond to cause that.
I don't want you to draw any conclusions from this, but it's just how things are laying out. Mark Herzog, he's had an exciting day. He got into Quinn when Quinn was leading, and then he gets into Driscoll when Driscoll was leading.
All right, so here's the other question. 12 laps to go. We're very close to the end. I mean, Sean, it seems to me it's too late to take tires almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we're gonna restart this with less than 10 to go, or maybe 10 to go, and yeah, no, Joe, it just doesn't help. Nobody's decided to come in, honestly, and take any. So, your top 18, aside from Liam Quinn, we documented why he did that. Yeah, no one's gonna bite here. Too much at stake with two little laps left.
If you could trust that the guys behind you were going to come in, if you were in 7th or 8th or 9th position, you'd come in and take tires, get a good run to get to that transfer spot. The problem is they're not all going to play by the same rules, and you're going to come in, you'll be in the back with Liam Quinn with fresh tires and on the way to the B main.
Speaking of which, that was Bryce Roberts we saw in the number 23 getting his lap back and joining the tail of the field. He's still one lap down, though, unless my timing and scoring just needs to update. So, yep, he's still well out of this fight. Again, it's the top 6, if you're just joining us, that will advance from this race to the A main, which is the finale that we will be watching.
The B main will be going on at the same time, but Sean and Joe and Amjad and yours truly will not be there calling the action.
Nope, we will be covering this one.
It would be physically impossible for us to be there since they happen simultaneously.
There's some ways we could work around it, but I don't think.
I heard Professor Lugnut. I was going to say I heard Professor Lugnut's working on a solution. So
okay.
Oh, jeez. I was going to say I'm not paying for 4 extra iRacing accounts. So. All right. They come across, and I believe the lights are out now. Sun continues to set. It is already 7:30 in the evening, Virtual Standard Time here in Bristol, Tennessee.
Getting dark. This is where I want to fend off the zombie apocalypse as I had to do it. I'd bar the doors. I could live a lifetime in this little stadium here and be safe. What do you think, Sean?
They actually get more people inside of Bristol Motor Speedway than actually live in Bristol, Tennessee. So, yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, that is a wow. Yeah.
Pace car is off in the 57. Another good jump from Mark Herzog. Andrew Oakey giving chase with the 777 of Banfield behind him. Cars slotting single file, but that hurts Jeff Schmeier because he moves up to the high side just as Slavonic tries to go low and use his momentum. It doesn't quite work out. A little bit of contact between them.
And the number 2, Little Train back there trying to find his way around.
And unfortunately, he's got to dispose of his teammate to take that transfer spot. It is an intra-team battle. Oh, we got an incident happening behind them. That's Steve Driscoll. He collects the car, but it's a chain reaction. And Houston Hammer turned around with 7 to go. Is this enough to get us green before the checkers?
Gonna be close, Joe. Gonna be very close.
So this started, I think, with Driscoll having to slow, and I'm not... Yeah. Oh, he actually got tipped.
Yeah, now
by Grandin.
Yeah, Hamer's going to get tipped, but I think Hamer turned the wheel back down the track because he saw the 51 getting out of shape up there. I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, and you know, you'll see right here, this is where it initially starts. The 51 gets tipped. That's Driscoll, and that causes a chain reaction. And that eventually is what made those other cars get into one another.
And right as that was happening, our leader, Mark Herzog, got loose, slammed it off the wall, lost the lead, and is sitting back in second, and his car is a little skinnier than it was before.
All right, let's see this one. Certainly worked out to his advantage. He'll only have to survive within the top 6 for what we believe will be 1 or 2 laps. Replay here of it.
Right there, but he's not done yet. Stay on this one. He gathers it back up, and then it drifts up the track, and smack! And now the yellow comes out.
Well, now it properly looks like a car that's raced at Bristol, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't look like they've run at Bristol unless they're missing usually body panels or, body panels, parts of the frame. I've seen cars at Bristol that have less body panels on them than an open wheel modified. To be honest with you, they have done some serious modification on cars over the years, a modification on race cars over the years to just get them back out on track and race for points. I don't think that's going to work here tonight.
Yeah, certainly too short of a race for that. Lights are still on. I have to come back next time around for a 1-lap shootout, actually. Is that correct?
Maybe.
I think so.
Ooh.
Joe, they call it Alliance Racing. We'll see how far that title translates into the actual style of racing as Paul Slavonic sits in 6th position in the transfer spot. His teammate Lionel Callisto outside looking in.
Yeah, they could always blitz Jeff Schmeier. Again, he's up in 5th. If they could both demote him, then they could both get through. But we'll see where loyalties lie. Now, fans of Kinetic Racing, well, you do have Wade Hayes, we should say. But Liam Quinn, who tends to be one of the fast drivers on that team, he's still down in 14th. Unless there is one incredible pileup, I highly doubt that the number 24 will be advancing to the A main.
Yeah, he was only able to pick up a couple of spots since that last pit stops, Joe. So, yeah, not boding too well for him back there, unfortunately. And even if we'd gotten a solid green flag to the finish, he was not moving. His lap times were comparable with the leaders, but you got to be faster, right?
All right, I'm going to sip my milkshake here. The lights are off the pace car, so 1 lap to go. We'll just let Joe take us home.
It is a one-lap shootout. Pace cars and green flag is out, and Andrew Oakey gets a good run. Herzog doesn't seem to be too damaged. He's got pace. He's holding ahead of Banfield. They work their way into 3 and 4 now. Haven't seen any change in the top 6, but it is going to be Oakey who takes the win. And Slavonic going to be your last one through to the A main.
Yeah, Driscoll's going to go spinning on the backstretch here, getting into turn 3.
There's a little help from, I believe, the 32 of Smith. That was a crazy save, actually. Woo!
Been on for a long time. It's still going on.
He just misses the end of the pit wall there, too. I mean, he almost got a barrel going by.
You thought they had put dirt on here again. It's going to watch from on board the unorthodox driver. Gets himself a run down into 1 and 2, and then just didn't realize he wasn't clear. Woo!
Talk about sawing logs. Look at those hands.
It's going to make it to the finish no matter what. And that's going to give us our finishing order, of course, here at Bristol Motor Speedway for the last chance qualifier. Andrew Oakey, again, the one who managed to take the win from 7th on the grid. So he managed to come from outside of the transfer spots to in them and even winning. Herzog went from 2nd to 2nd. Banfield from 3rd to 3rd. Josh Kanata takes 4th place. Jeff Meyer, another one who is breathing a sigh of relief. He started 11th and finished 5th. Paul Slavonic as well, 10th to 6th for him. Paul going to be the last one through to the A main. Lionel Callisto, well, maybe he'll have to settle for trying to win that B main. He finished 7th today. And Brian Grandin, just shy, what a climb for him, 23rd to 8th. Wade Hayes finishes 9th, and Eric Smith 21st to 10th for him, rounding out that top 10.
Then it's Clark Archer. Our pole sitter, Liam Quinn, gets the 12th spot. William Fletcher. Patrick Fleming, 19th to 14th. Mark Torres, Steve Driscoll, Houston Hamer, Leif Peterson, Bryce Roberts, Gary Nichols, Steve Paulson, Rory Collins, and in the 23rd spot, Jimbo Pfeiffer. Good luck in the B main for all of you. We'll see the top 6 coming up in a little while.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that soon enough. I believe we're going to take another quick break. We'll come back with the A main here in round 4 of the majors. It's the Short Track Nationals at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. This is what it's all about. We've had 2 heats. We've had a last chance qualifier. The cars are now warming up for the A-Main, the finale here in round 4 of the majors. And Sean, we've seen some frantic racing now that things have got a little bit more tense, a little bit more high pressure. We saw a number of cautions in that last chance qualifier. It seemed like maybe drivers getting a little bit antsy. This is a longer race, though. Is that going to repeat? Or is it going to calm down?
From a spectator standpoint, I hope not. I mean, we'd like to see green flags work out. I mean, listen, teams have planned for green flag laps. They've also planned for cautions, too. There's alternate strategies at play, but, you know, if you see, if we get a 30 or 40 lap green run, we get a caution somewhere around there. Honestly, you're probably going to see everybody come in. I don't know if anybody will try and hang out longer than that. Again, pit stops under a green flag run probably going to be somewhere close to 50 laps. So I don't know. And Christian talked about it. He won his race on one set of tires. Every Saturday night, we see the super late models and the SK modifieds go 100 laps on tires. So this super late certainly can go 100 laps on tires. I think, again, though, the laundry, the yellow flags will probably dictate how that goes, Joe.
And Bill, we've gotten a feel for how everyone handles this combination, because we haven't seen this combination yet in the majors, the super late model and the and Bristol Motor Speedway, even though we've had each separately in other events. So, I mean, thoughts on drivers you've kind of kept your eye on that you feel are looking really strong?
I like Clement. I in the 111 car, I think he's going to do well. Taft Baldwin is going to be tough. The big names are going to be awfully good in this. You know, Sean put it as the racing. He really kind of was nice when he said it. The word he used was chippy. I think it's kind of just the nature of the last chance qualifier. I mean, just the title of the thing, last chance qualifier. It kind of puts the pressure on these drivers to race a little harder than they usually would. I think this is going to be more now that the points are locked in, and I think that we're going to see more of what we usually see from a majors event, and that's some good, clean racing.
As we rode on board with Travis Worley, the good news is iRacing has not made that water bottle that you saw detachable, so won't have any cautions for that sort of chicanery.
Okay.
2.5 minutes left to go until we get to the grid. This is a 100-lap race. We have now doubled the last chance qualifier and quadrupled what we saw in the heats. You heard the drivers talking, Sean, that they had different sets for different races, and especially because look at this. It's nighttime, fully nighttime now.
Fully nighttime, exactly. And I alluded to that earlier when we thought maybe that someone had the wrong set in the car. So, yeah, you're definitely setting up for a longer run. You're obviously setting up for a little bit cooler temperature here. But listen, it's Bristol, and the progressive banking really means that the high line is probably going to be favored by most. So I'm thinking most of the cars we're seeing in this field right now have set up for that high line. Now, you know what? Does that mean you can't make the bottom line work? No, if you come in with a strategy of a car that handles really well on the bottom line, you might be the guy to beat. But what I got to tell you is if you find yourself on slightly older tires and you're up front, you're going to stay out because you're going to gamble that the guys with the fresh tires in the back are going to use their stuff up before they can actually get to you.
See, I'd listen to Kristen Challenger. He said the high line burns off my tires. Watch out for the guys that race the low line early and save their stuff for the end and maybe have something when it's time to go racing for real. I don't think you can make a pit stop here and be competitive. We'll see.
Looking through at some of these names in the last minute of warm-up, I know I mentioned Kevin O'Keefe looking for his first win. Ryan Worley looking for his first win in a long time. And I believe all of his in the past have come on ovals, specifically Indianapolis. Let's see if he can transfer that over to short track in a stock car. A couple newer names this season. Andrew Oakey, he's been very strong. Wonder if we need to keep an eye on him. Can come in and make a splash. Then you see the names of drivers who have shown very, very well. Lance Nasir, of course, performed well We mentioned that Matthew Thunhorst, another of those drivers to watch out for.
I don't think I'd be out of line to give mention to how well Kevin O'Keefe is racing. He's really been very impressive here on the ovals.
Yep, and he's started a team now, we should mention. The warm-up lap is his team. I think Oki is a part of that, too. I could be wrong on that. Oh, excuse me, that was Elite West that I was thinking of. But the warm-up period is over. That means the grid is now set, so let's go through our starting grid. Matthew Thunhorst going to be on the pole with Taft Baldwin on the outside of him. Lance Nasir running P3 when the green drops, and Kevin O'Keefe starting 4th. James Milbachler will be 5th, and Daniel Knight starts 6th. Then you've got Tucker Minter starting 7th, and Trevor Clement in 8th. 9th will be Travis Worley, and the outside of row 5 will be Ryan Worley. Bill?
In 11th position, it is Cody Wyman. Mom and Dad McGreevy's little boy Brian sitting in the 12th position. In the unlucky 13th spot is Brian Barnes inside of Bob Beltrami. Andrew Oakey, Mark Herzog go 15th and 16th. 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th go to Ross Banfield, Joshua Kanata, Jeff Schmeier, and Paul Slavonic, respectively.
20-car field racing for 100 laps. Last time I asked your predictions, guys, and it was for a little bit less on the line. Now it's for the whole thing. Let's start with Bill. Who's got it today?
Boy, I like Taft Baldwin starting outside of row 1. I know Sean's going to take that one, so I'll pick somebody a little more exciting. Let's go down with the guy that I thought's been very impressive. How about Kevin O'Keefe? Like him in 4th. He's out there racing in a yellow machine. He's, known as Rutgers Kevs. They're the Scarlet Knight, even though he's not in his college colors. I think he's still going to do well.
I'm really not allowed to pick any. I'm not allowed to pick the pole sitter, actually. I'll just leave it at that. You know what? Call me crazy, but give me Ryan Worley, man.
All right.
All the way from 10th. I wouldn't put it past him. Ryan knows how to handle himself on ovals, knows how to set up a car. See the pace car coming around. Oh, what's that? Sorry.
I said I was going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on. I was going with the setup angle. I know Ryan can set up a car, and that's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very intelligent young man. So the pace car coming around one more time here under the lights at Bristol. We've gotten a fair bit of racing. 100 laps of it, to be exact, so far. Again, the B main happening simultaneously. We won't be able to cover that. Commiserations to those who didn't make it to the big show. Hopefully they perform well, and hopefully they have a fun time down there. But this is what we want to watch as the Mustang pace car peels off. There is no waiting for Matthew Thunhorst. Big jump from him. Taft Baldwin can easily slot into 2nd. Lance Nasir is finding himself working up to the high side, going to chop off Kevin O'Keefe. Has to interrupt his momentum.
All the way in the back, Banfield just shot the cap at a 3 wide.
And sorry, on screen, that was Kevin O'Keefe that we saw suddenly shooting down to the inside. That's because he slammed the wall. That puts him down in 5th now.
Car on the low side making that work is Tucky Minter. Tucker trying to get underneath there with the 94 car of Daniel Knight up on top. He's the only car racing on the inside line until you get back to, oh my goodness, you got to go way back to about 12th position.
And Tucker moving up the track a little bit. He's got a good run here, going into 3.
Saw in the background there was Cody Wyman in the 331 who nearly lost it on the straight. Thankfully collected it together, but we're watching Daniel Knight on the inside, on the outside of Tucker Minter. They're still working that low line, but it's not quite producing results.
I'm watching the leaders, Sean. Baldwin is taking a low line around all the corners.
It's a long race.
Again, I'm not shocked. If a winner comes from the bottom line, predominantly, so I'm not going to be shocked. I mean, you can do it. It can be done. And it may be done before this race is over.
Baldwin's following him. Lance Nasir, though, is running the high line. And then interesting, Milbachler is running kind of a middle line. On board with Milbachler, and that time, though, he went around this one. Now, yeah, so look at that. Just kind of taking it right down the middle. And then cutting it down low on the exit. Minter, in the meantime, has gotten by Knight and is now focusing his efforts on Kevin O'Keefe, who continues to slip backwards. Wonder if he got a little too much damage from that hit.
You know what? The damage on the right front is actually pretty good. He may have knocked the toe out of it just a bit. Certainly possible on the super late. And he is absolutely... I'm seeing him through the center of the turn. He's hard. The caution's out.
Whirling. Oh, and it's a lot of cars.
Yeah. And Warling makes contact with Cody Wyman. And then everybody stacks up behind him. We got the replay.
It's like two lines converging, unfortunately. You're going to see Wyman try to come down, Warling wash up, tips him around.
Schmeier and Herzog are the next two cars in.
Looks like the popsicle car also gets it. Right on board the unorthodox motorsports car. They almost got away with it, but when the 331 slipped back around, that was all she wrote. Fair Reds, Brian Barnes, riding the high side, suddenly sees the accident, literally has no place to go. A blocked track in front of him.
Knocked the top of the popsicle off.
I always hate that when you're trying to get that last bit and it falls to the ground.
It falls to the ground, right? It winds up in the sand, and you're like, oh, no. Yeah.
Take a look at the 57 car. Sean, I think a hammer and a bib is needed here, because you know why?
They're going to need more than a hammer and a bib. I think he's going for the spare car, Soup.
Oh, man, that car is crabbing. He gets it in.
Yeah.
Somebody should have told him that we left Florida.
I don't think you're going to find a lot of crab in Bristol. Actually, Soup, Moby Dickey's not far from Bristol.
Oh, if you haven't watched the Lionheart series, Moby Dickey, one of the sponsors of the car there.
I think they're in Knoxville, I think, right?
I was going to say, maybe some crawfish around here? Go to the creeks?
Yeah, no, Tennessee, sure, yeah, that's south enough for crawfish.
Possum stew, baby.
Or nutria.
All right. We're there, really?
All right. I think the lights are out on the pace car. The number 98 of Matthew Thunhorst is currently leading the way. Taft Baldwin is following him in second. Lance Nasir in third. And James Milbachler up to fourth. Tucker Minter to fifth. Poor Kevin O'Keefe, despite being pretty high up at the start, all the way down to seventh now because of his woes. He didn't come in to get repairs. Maybe just going to try and gut it out until he gets a better opportunity. Green flag is out. Matthew Thunhorst leads the way the second time in a row with a fantastic run. Taft Baldwin has no answer. Instead, he's going defensive because Lance Nasir on the attack.
You know, Joe, you talked about damage on O'Keefe. He's okay in a straight line. It's in the turns that he's struggling. I think he's fast enough to hang in there. I think that's why he made the decision to stay out.
Well, he's got our hard charger, Andrew Oki, right behind him. Oki up 6 spots from his 15th grid position, and he's coming. Keep an eye on him. Plenty of time for the number 96 to get up to the front of the field.
Let's get back to Tucker Minter. Speaking of hard chargers, remember, we've seen him fighting a lot. Already, he's on the back of James Milbachler and has been poking his nose side to side, trying to find a way by, but nothing's worked yet. Ooh. Oh, and he's going to actually get into him.
Yeah, well, Milbachler struggled off the turn, and he's still struggling. Ooh, a little bit of the chrome horn there.
And says, thank you very much. I'll move into 5th. Maybe I'll even take 4th if I can take it. He's underneath Milbachler. He's going to have to fight for it. This 61 is making life difficult for both of these drivers.
Fastest of the three, I believe, is Minter. There's just not enough track for him to get. He's into him again.
Well, that one, it looked like Milbachler just got loose. Minter had to check up, stayed out of him.
Milbachler is fighting that car. The same trouble that O'Keefe was having in the center of the turns. That car is just really squirrely. Look at him.
Oh, my goodness. It just goes on and on and on. There's no way he's going to be able to keep that car off the wall for another 88 laps, 78 laps.
James ready to go fishing. That car is wiggling like a worm all over the place and already losing time. Trevor Clement has rocked up behind him and looked to the low side. Based on what we saw with the other two, I'm pretty sure, the 111 can get by, but not if he makes contact like that.
Yeah, Trevor almost got in a bad situation there, Joe.
Let's take a look at the replay on that one. Little bit of contact and even a little slide into the corner, but manages to gather it back together.
And Joe, while that replay was going on, Milbachler gave up the ghost, man. He said, you know what, that's enough. He pulled off. He's off and in.
Oh,
wait a minute.
He's
Did he blow
his engine?
Going on board.
He just pulled over. Oh, yeah, he did. You're right. Mid-corner. Not sure if that's out of frustration or maybe just put it in the wrong gear.
I wonder if it's damage. We got a wreck on track. The yellow's out. That was Cody Wyman again involved in another one, and that was the 770 Ryan Worley.
I'm not sure if Worley did much wrong on this one, Crackers.
No, he didn't. Worley was in his line. It looks like, unfortunately, Cody drifted up the track a little bit and make the contact.
Watch it from above here so that we can really see.
He drifted into his line.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That made it fairly obvious.
And Slavonic just missed it. We're going to go on poor rolling here. Worley.
Sends Wyman around and keeps going. A few cars behind them having to check up, hitting the wall, hitting each other. A little bit of bumps and bruises, but otherwise only one car really suffered, I'd say, and that was Wyman. Maybe the racing gods are just sometime, I suppose.
Soup, are you struggling every time you hear Wyman's name? Are you like expecting a Stones tune to start or something like that?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I can't get it out of my head.
I'm a professional, baby.
Oh, we got a few cars coming in.
Yes, we do.
Including both of these Elite West drivers of O'Keefe and Worley.
Oh, well, O'Keefe has to come in. Whatever's going wrong in there, he's got to see.
Yeah, Kevin had to come in there. He absolutely, honestly, he probably, I don't want to second guess him. He probably should have come in last time. I don't think he's going for the spare car, though. The car's up on the jacks for tires.
And speaking of drivers who've pitted, right now the highest car who has pitted is Travis Warling in 8th. He's been out for about 16 laps. We're on lap 30, so he's done about half the race that we've run on these tires, but I would think that these will even out with everybody around him as things continue.
Right, with apologies to the drivers I'm about to highlight, they pay me a GSRC to tell you what I'm seeing. The car I think that is really good is the number 96. That's Andrew Oakey. He is up a bunch of positions and he feels real comfortable. Up in 6, he is up 9 spots from where he started. All right, the other one that I've liked so far is Tucker Minter. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just going to say I wanted to give one more update on O'Keefe, okay? Now, he did not get that damage repaired. Okay, now, do you pull the spare car off the trailer now with just less than 70 laps to go? I think that was a good call. I think I keep that in my pocket, especially if I'm restarting from the back of the pack right now. So Kevin O'Keefe lives to fight another day here with 4 fresh tires on the car, ready to go.
And that's a page out of the Lionel Callisto playbook. You don't use that spare car until you absolutely need it at the end.
Sad that we don't have Lionel out here. Looks like Cody Wyman's going to duck in one more time to try and get whatever repairs he can. But we are going green this time by Matthew Thunhorst. Will have the lead still. He started on the pole. He hasn't relinquished it yet. He's been looking incredibly strong in that number 98. Off the final corner. Pace car is in. They've figured out Thunhorst's games this time. He did not get as big of a jump as we've seen previously. Baldwin follows him. A little bit of a battle for fourth. That's Minter on the inside of Daniel Knight. They've been fighting much of this night.
Yeah, it's been one in front of the other. They've swapped positions several times. Minter likes the bottom line. His car's really good there.
The 34 riding, excuse me, the 94 riding the high line. Daniel Knight seeing what he can do up top. And it looks like Wyman, unfortunately, just dealing with too much damage. He's returned to the pits under green. Meanwhile, that was a look for the lead from Taft Baldwin. The number 5 is getting a little bit frisky out here. And he's making it work. He just can't get the shot off the corner, but he is getting fully up alongside the car of Matthew Thunhorst. Right on board without leader, looking back.
We got a car off down the front stretch. Does it bring out the caution? No.
Not yet.
It was Milbachler getting into
Slavonic,
one
yes.
of the Alliance cars.
Yeah, Slavonic.
Slavonic.
I can't believe we didn't get a caution out of that. Milbachler was completely turned around at one point.
He did a 360. What?
Meanwhile, the lead almost changing hands. Baldwin still trying at it as they come up to traffic. This could be bad news for one of them, but who? Cody Wyman is back out and running. I'm not sure if this is good. Wyman's running in 19th right now. This is second to last. I almost feel like maybe he ought to bring it into the pit.
Times are good though, Joe. He's fast. He's fast. I think he can stay in front of him as long as he's got nobody and keep his line. I think he's okay. That last lap of 15-1.
Oh my.
Lance Nassir getting an absolute shot from Minter.
Minter got the best of Knight now. He's up into fourth.
Finally, they settle single file behind them. It's still side by side for the lead. Though we've seen Baldwin get his nose ahead, it does not stay there. They've been dead even despite working two different lines around this track for, I would say, almost 10 laps now.
Yeah.
And finally, Thunhorst fends him off for good.
Boy, Minter is really getting held up back there, man.
Sure is.
Or at least he thinks he is, because he keeps throwing the chrome horn out there.
Getting awful close to the back of Lance.
No.
Now he gets to the inside. This didn't work for Baldwin. Can it work for Tucker? He's going to stay right with him, holding low on that right-hand shotgun car. No clear advantage quite yet. Battle starting to brew once again for the lead because now that
Minter got tapped.
Oh, how did they survive that?
Nassir got him, put him, they got in the wall. Minter hit the wall, but he's still racing. Knight got around him.
that puts him in third, but look at the lead. Here comes Taft Baldwin. The drivers in right-hand shotgun have been known to be strong on ovals, and Baldwin is proving it. He overtakes Alliance Racing's Matthew Thunhorst to get up to the top spot firmly and for good.
Sean, that was a great call you made on Cody Wyman. He's able to, he's not a part of this. He's pulling away from the leaders.
Yeah,
Fresh tires.
He's still turning 15-1s. In fact, that last one was a 15 flat, so Cody's still got a fast race car.
Yeah.
He's 3 laps down.
Watch the replay on the pass for the lead. Nothing special about it, I would say. There you see the incident in the background. Just found himself the grip off the corner, and Let's see, eventually, let's see, still side by side here. Maybe the tires on the Alliance car running that high side finally gave up the ghost. In fact, well, he's not done with riding shotgun cars. Daniel Knight on him now. Oh, big bobble from Minter. Get it together. He collects the car. Well, not after being sideways a number of times.
I don't know how he caught the car after that one, honestly.
Sean, we saw Minter get turned into the wall, and I thought he was done. Boy, he's still out there putting in some good runs.
Living what I like to call a charmed life, Sue.
Boy, it's starting to look like Thunhorst is the cork in the bottle here.
Yeah.
Another look to the inside from Daniel Knight. They are losing big time on Taft Baldwin.
And it's not just these guys, but everybody is coming now. Nasir, Warling, Beltrami is in the mix.
Does Daniel Knight have an obligation as a teammate here to make this tough for these guys back here, Joe? Going back to quote-unquote team racing.
Could be. Well, now he's fully passed. So if anything, he can go to try to run down his rival or his teammate. Tucker Minter's going to try to stop that. Can't quite get by. Thunhorst still struggling because now Trevor Clement, his own teammate, is getting through. Now we saw that number 98 up at the top side fighting side by side for many laps. Is this just fighting him now?
That would be my guess. The car just
would be mine too.
Going away.
It's popping. Oh my goodness.
He's struggling in the center of the turn. Yeah, it's maybe just used up a bit. He could be sitting on it a little bit too right now. This could be an illusion.
Taft has pulled the gap to 1.8 seconds over Daniel Knight. That is eons in oval racing terms, especially short track oval racing.
And you look at the line that Taft Baldwin is racing all by himself. And as I say that, he tries a wide line. I guess he's experimenting. But for the last 3 or 4 laps, he's been running a low line down into the corners. Now he's moved it up a bit.
Just right in the middle of the track. Oh, and Knight gets the wall from second place, maybe pushing it too hard. Tucker Minter tends to be one who takes advantage of anything that comes his way. He also brushes the wall out of 4. Another wash of sparks from Daniel Knight.
Sean, you and I have done enough bootleg races that we know these guys are working way too hard early on. Don't be surprised if the winner doesn't come from one of these guys laying back a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, Sue. But again, I think once you've gotten into a green flag run, laying back could be a part of your strategy to save a little bit something for the end of the run. I mean, you'd lose this race if you pull off at this point for a green flag stop. You know what I mean?
And on screen, we've been watching the battle between Warling and Nasir. Warling gets the best of them to move into P5. Up ahead, you can see also a little bit of action between Clement and Minter.
But even with Warling's pass, he did it smooth. He did it easy. I think he's one of the guys that are coming in the 90 machine.
I kind of think Trevor Clement, honestly, is one we need to watch out for as he gets into his teammate. He catches the car after a monster slide. Excuse me, no, not a teammate. Sorry, it's all yellow and black car.
Yeah, there's a bit of green mixed in that one in Tucker's.
Oh, we got a caution. Oh, and Oki after having such a good race.
We're
still on replay. We need to watch this. Sorry,
Here it is on replay. Oki's going to get contact there with the 57.
Yeah, sorry.
There it is.
I knew we were on replay. I was watching live, and it's so when he gets the car turned around, that is never good. Let's watch Taft Baldwin.
I hate that for Oki.
And he does hit both the wall and the other car. And I think Knight got him the second hit there.
Yeah, that was Daniel Knight going by for sure. Trying to see if he picked up any damage because of it. Slight. I think he's going to be okay. Oh, maybe not. That right front actually kind of beat up on Knight's car now that I look at it a little bit closer.
We see a number of cars in. That's Tucker Minter. Matthew Thunhorst has come in after he was dropping like a rock. Bob Beltrami is in and out. Lucky Dog. Boy, this caution has been a little sloppy. And that's after the cautions come out.
So the leader decides to stay out, Joe. I can't say I disagree with this move with 30 to go, to be really honest. You've got the lead. You've got a fast race car. What you're counting on is the guys behind you that got those fresh tires. I think I probably brought this up once. You're counting on those guys with the fresh tires to use their stuff up or get in trouble while they're using their stuff up trying to get to you. So as long as you can get the jump on these restarts, starting there on the inside, you might be in good shape if you're Taft Baldwin. Let's face it, he was our pole sitter. He was the fastest all week. So Taft sitting in a pretty good spot, in my opinion.
Speaking of sitting in good spots, sorry, Bill, the one that I kept trying to bring up is the 111, and our director noticed this too. He had a pit stop relatively recently compared to a lot of these drivers, and he's sitting in third. Is that going to be enough to give him an advantage over those two ahead?
Again, that is the Roman numeral 3 car there. Yes, that Clement could easily get this one. The other one behind him, I like what Warling is up to.
The only reason
Sean,
I won't
you know
accept, the only reason I won't accept that, Bill, is because you called it Roman numeral.
Oh, yes. That was rough. Hey, let's look about this aspect of the race. There's 30 to go, but these are not going to be 30 green flag laps because you've got so many cars on different agendas. You got cars in the back that are going to be really fast. There is no way that all those cars on fresh rubber are going to be able to get around without causing a yellow flag right here. And that's all good news to Taft Baldwin.
Right, and it goes back to what I was just talking about. I mean, advantage Taft. Totally advantage to Taft. So you're going to have to beat him. You're literally going to have to beat him. You're going to have to get a run around him or under him, but you're not. If you're depending on him making a mistake at this point, I think he's proven all week going into this race, he's the car to beat.
Certainly looks like it for this race, for this A main that we've been watching. Lights are out on the pace car. It is a 1-2 for Ride Shotgun. Then you've got Alliance in third, Unorthodox riding in fourth. Taft Baldwin takes the green flag, jumps away. And already we're seeing a little bit of a move by the Unorthodox car on the Alliance car. Clement trying to fend off the number 90. Whirling, riding the low side, seeing what he can do with that. Don't forget in all this, we saw a few cars go in earlier for Elite West. That was Worley and O'Keefe. They're in a big battle, and actually they've gotten into one another.
Oh, boy.
Jeff Schmeier gets into the two cars up on the wall. That was Kevin O'Keefe getting a twofer down there. He didn't have anything to do with that one. He went through clean.
So if I'm not mistaken, Richie's in charge of Elite West, right? Yeah. Richie Hearn?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
Are we going to have a little bit of a conversation between him and some of his team members about don't hit your teammate, I think?
Well, he's not racing because of bad internet connection, so I think the team, all of his the teammates are hoping the boss may be not able to see this one.
I mean, listen, I've driven this car, I've driven at this track, and I've driven in a pack. I think they were just obvious. Captain Obvious here. They were just too close together, but I don't think either one could see the other at that point based on where those cars were and where they were getting ready to turn.
Well, it certainly didn't help Elite West get maximum points today. You can see O'Keefe having to take to the pits, and he's taking some tires while he does it.
Not sure why he did that. I thought he got through clean. He was racing up in about 6th position. Oh, I guess he got caught up in it. I thought
Remember,
he
we were just talking about teammates getting together. So,
oh, pay attention, soup.
Apparently, the team principal agrees that was not good.
Post-race debrief is going to be a little awkward.
Yeah.
All right, I misidentified. It was Tucker Minter who got underneath, and I thought was clear. Okay, so that's what makes sense to me.
So
Kurt Zuck says no hard feelings.
Yeah, and I'm looking through to see who's really moved forward and who's moved backwards. Well, Milbachler definitely has moved backwards. He's 4 laps down in 19th after starting from 5th. O'Keefe, actually one of those who he's probably going to be a little bit disappointed. This is going to be a why me race because he started 4th and now he's 14th after all that. But then on the reverse, how about Josh Kanata going from 18th to 10th right now?
Yeah, the New Yorkers had a pretty solid day, and I'll call on Lady Luck. He's been riding back there, but he's avoided some of the major trouble to be where he's at right now.
All right, lights, I believe, are out on the pace car. So we should get going. We're down to 22, going to be 21 laps to go when we get the green. Nope, lights are still on. Excuse me, called it a little too early. I didn't have my binoculars out. It's hard to see from the booth up here sometimes.
So I look through here and I think about cars that I've noticed who was fast, and I see these guys that like Knight is really quick, but then I think about Sean, boy, they've had to work really hard. Who's up there that's been kind of quiet? And I think Joe mentioned it. Clement is good in the 11, Warling in the 90, and unfortunately for all those guys, I think Taft Baldwin really has had a pretty easy run of it up front.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you that Baldwin's had an easy run. There's nothing easy, though, about Bristol. So a lot of car control involved and all the preparation that went into this. With the lights off, we get ready to head back to some racing, baby.
Everybody lined up in a row. Taft Baldwin leaves his teammate behind, actually checks him up, and that's causing a chain reaction as Nasir looks to the inside of Warling. This is for P4, but he can't seal the deal.
Boy, and Minter really got slowed down there up top as he tried to get around. Minter goes to the bottom.
What a move! Tucker Minter from the top to the bottom to get underneath Nasir, and it worked. He's carrying the speed because he's already looking on Warling. That was a bit of brilliance, if you ask me. Let's watch the replay even. That merits it. This is Tucker Minter. Sees things starting to erupt in front of him.
I don't want any part of that. Get me out of here. More send. More send. Here we go.
Unbelievable.
And as
almost
we watch,
the move of the race.
As we watch that, he continues to drive through the field.
Oh! Clement getting a shot from Warling. He's trying to save it. He's trying to save it, but we got cars wrecking, and the caution is out. Oki involved. Banfield involved. Wyman, Worley gets it again.
There's a moment there where you thought it was going to be a save, and then the car shoots back up the track into the line.
I think that's going to be it for Trevor and his hopes on taking a win. He didn't take too hard of a hit anywhere, but he's all the way at the back now. Just the lightest of touches. Unfortunately, that just looks like the nature of short track racing to me. Watching it from above here, seeing how the blimp viewed it. All right, as we come back live, We will be able to go green before we get to the checkers. Question is, will they keep it green? We have had a spate of yellows late in the race.
Well, I got bad news for Taft Baldwin, because if there was somebody I would choose to tell my wife she looks fat in a dress, it's Tucker Minter. He is fearless. He's just going to dive it down underneath Baldwin, no matter what.
Yeah, the number 989 has been aggressive. Let's hope that they can finish it under green with what we've seen. So let's see. We're going to get about 89 laps to go when we come back. Or what do we have with the pace car here? Yep, still got the lights on. Your leader is Taft Baldwin. Tucker Minter, through quite a bit of racing wheel to wheel, has eventually moved himself up to P2. Our pole sitter has returned. How about this? Matthew Thunhorst back to third.
Kind of worked itself out there, didn't it?
It ain't over till that checkered flag falls.
But for the record, I haven't really talked about him or picked him. So I'm just saying, when it's all said and done with, I just want the record to be clear, okay? I'll explain afterwards. I'm just...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The audience might not. But, all right, Taft Baldwin. Well, no, we don't have the lights off still. I'm jumping the gun here. I'm eager to get going. I want to see some racing. We've got so many yellows.
Well, I ordered my pizza on this yellow flag, so we got to get this done so I can pay for it before.
Jeez, Bill.
This.
Oh, boy. We're professionals here.
Just as long as he's not eating on the air.
Yes, this is true. So, we come down the backstretch. We're going to get green with 10 to go. All the cars getting themselves lined up on the high side, protecting it so that they can keep from getting jumped before the line. Ooh, and Taft Baldwin was not able to gain. Oh, here he goes, Tucker Minter. Immediately down to the low side. He's actually fully ahead. He can drift up. Tucker Minter to the lead in one corner. Taft gets it tipped from Matthew Thunhorst, but he gathers it back together.
My wife is ugly in her dress. Tucker Minter out in front by a ton of distance. It's Secretariat.
Here comes Matthew Thunhorst. He was our pole sitter. He's trying to move that car back up to that spot, and he's got Taft Baldwin.
Wow.
Baldwin on old tires, and caution is out. That is Banfield.
Wow. You think Baldwin wants a second chance on that restart? You know, that actually
Meyer started, it looked like. On
yeah,
this
it didn't start with Banfield. Yeah.
It was Schmeier and Worley making contact. Worley manages to squeak through. Schmeier finds himself spinning, and the 777 gets the worst of it. Actually, the Banfield was a completely separate incident. It looks like everybody else checking up. So let's watch the restart. Now, they do have rules about no passing before the restart, but that's the line. That involves the start-finish line. I'll see if we can get the stewards to give us some information of ruling on that.
Well, he's asking. It says right there, come and take it. I mean, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, so our director says it's good. I prefer to hear from the stewards on this one. I don't know what the ruling is going to be on this. I hope that there's no penalty, because that was fantastic from Minter.
Oh, if they take it away from him, worse than what the church did to Galileo, he's the leader.
Bill, of all the references.
I get that reference. So
I
that's
do
a horrible
too.
thing.
Bill. Okay, I won't say it. I could say something, but I don't want to insult our audience, so I will hold my tongue. Anyways, we've got 6 laps to go now. We will get back to green once again. We're running out of opportunities, though. And what is Matthew Thunhorst going to do now that he's got himself back up to second, from pole to dropping all the way down, and then suddenly he finds himself with a chance to win? Is he going to be as aggressive as Minter has been? What are we going to see?
I think I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, to be honest with you, to the end, Joe. It's all you, baby. Because
Me too. Sean, let's sit back and let Joe do what he does.
All right. Well, I'm curious. I am very, very curious because we still have cars on old tires, and it seemed to have bit Taft Baldwin, who finds himself now in 3rd. Daniel Knight as well in 4th, and both of those are riding shotgun cars, we should mention. And and actually isn't Lance Nasir as well? I believe.
Yeah. He is.
That's all 3 riding shotgun cars have not taken tires this whole race. And it worked out well. They were up at the front towards the end until these last few restarts. And then I think, unfortunately, it is backfiring.
Could there be any more of a generic chat name than Danny from the beer store? Soup doesn't get much more generic. I love it too, actually. He says he likes insults, so Soup, insult away.
Well, it wasn't Soup, it was me.
Well, that's true. It was you, yes.
Okay. So
I'm used to Soup creating international incidents. Go.
Oh, we'll say it afterwards because we've got the restart going, and Tucker Minter does a phenomenal job on the restart, just like this time, except he has no one to pass. Thunhorst does not have an answer. It's side-by-side battling between Daniel Knight and Taft Baldwin. Baldwin up on the high side. Another caution will end this race. They've got to keep it clean until they see the white flag. Minter has checked out. It is a half-second lead over Matthew Thunhorst. Taft Baldwin now holding on to 3rd, but behind them, look at this. This is Josh Kanata and Travis Warling. Josh has an almighty run, but his momentum interrupted on the front stretch. Looks like we lost Knight due to a connection problem. Final lap, Tucker Minter leading the way. And checkered flag is out. Tucker Minter is going to take the win here in round 4 of the majors. Matthew Thunhorst follows him home in 2nd. Baldwin managed to keep those old tires on the circuit and takes the podium. Take a look at that fight for 3rd at the end. Boy, laps here go fast. I almost missed that checkered flag. Was it a hard fight with Josh? Crossed the line, banging doors. Good old classic short track finish.
Looking out of here.
Watch from the Elite West Racing driver. Good hard racing. So let's take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Tucker Minter is going to burn it down while on screen you see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Tucker Minter managed to pull one over a lot of people's eyes because even though he was aggressive, I don't think any of us really expected him to win, at least until very late in this race, from 7th on the grid to the victory with 2 incredible yellow restarts that gave the 989 the top spot. Matthew Thunhorst, who looked like maybe he wasn't going to be involved, eventually recovered and came back for 2nd, but just didn't have the speed for Tucker. Taft Baldwin did it on no tire changes, but still managed to gather a podium together for 3rd. Josh Kanata was banging doors with him across the line from 18th on the grid for Josh up to 4th. That is a wonderful run, even though he didn't make the podium. Travis Warling will finish in P5, with Bob Beltrami also working his way forward from 14th to 6th. Lance Nasir going from 3rd, unfortunately down to 7th. Brian Barnes finishes 8th. Kevin O'Keefe, despite having a few run-ins with his teammate and some damage along the way, did get 9th place. Trevor Clement, unfortunately, going to take 10th.
3 more cars on the lead lap. Ryan Worley, Ross Banfield, and Jeff Light My Fire Schmeier in the 13th position. Then all of these guys will be able to relate to Danny from the beer store, as they were a long way from the front. Andrew Oakey, Cody Wyman, Brian McGreevy in 17th spot. It's Daniel Knight. James Milkbacher down there in 18th, 19th, and 20th. Paul Slavonic and Mark Herzog.
Our winner's ready to talk to us. Tucker Minter, who certainly impressed, I think, all of us in the booth with those late restarts. Tucker, we were commenting before the second to last restart how aggressive you've been and how much the leader needs to watch out for you. And, well, I guess the leader should have listened to us, because you absolutely snatched up the lead.
Yeah, on the fresh tires, the car was handling really well, especially compared to everyone else. I felt like I had close to the fastest car there up with Taft, but it was so hard to pass early. And then we got into the green flag runs, and I felt like I was moving forward. Then I got turned into the wall. You have to see a replay. I haven't watched it yet, but I felt like I got turned into the wall early, and that's basically what forced me to pit with 30 to go.
I see you hail from the Virginia's Club. Does this kind of almost count as a home victory for you?
Yeah, it's pretty close to it. If we were racing at Richmond, that'd be a home track, but it's great to win at Bristol. Attended a lot of races there, so it's cool to get a win here in the majors.
Yeah, and I'm sure on the oval side makes it all the more special as well. So you started from 7th on the grid for this one. I mean, how do you play out a race like this with all the chaos that we see with we saw so many varieties in the pit stop strategy in terms of who took tires, who didn't even stop at all? Do you have any sort of plan going in?
Yeah, I thought that we were going to be pitting close to every caution. That's why on the first caution, I kind of juked like I was entering pit road, because I thought I could get a lot of guys to go with me, because I knew that tire drop off was a thing, like 2/10 after like 20 laps. So I felt like we were going to pit more, but when we weren't, I felt like when there was that caution on lap 30, if there was a caution about lap 60, I was going to pit. And then again, when I got turned to the wall, I knew I had to pit because my car wasn't as fast after I got that 2X into the fence.
Well, again, congratulations. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Well, I was running the BC Forever on that, so I'd like to dedicate this to Brian Clausen and Driven to Save.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations. That was Tucker Minter, our winner here today at Bristol. Second place goes to Matthew Thunhorst. He started on pole, still a nice haul of points. Bill has caught up with him.
For those who didn't see the event tonight, the newspaper will come on the lawn. They'll open up their sports page. They'll read the box score. Matthew Thunhurst started on pole, finishes 2nd. That really doesn't say much about how your race really went. You were well down the order.
Nah, I made a quick change because the car was a little tight in practice, and man, it made it a rocket ship for 30 laps. And about after that, once Taft got to me, that's about the point that my car became wrecking loose. So if you all missed some Blake Reynolds getting loose saving it action, I tried to give it to you tonight. Oh my Lord!
Talk about the difference in setups between the qualifying race and the A main.
Well, for the most part, as long as you built a balanced setup, you could pretty well transfer them here and there. It's just changing tire pressures and track bars and things like that. The biggest issue that I think a lot of people ran into is keeping the chassis out of the ground. And once we got to night in a full tank, that became a real nightmare. And it took me about 15 hours to try to find a workaround to get it out. Finally, actually drive.
Boy, I think what you just said took you about 15 hours to figure a workaround. That says a lot for what it takes to do well here. Matthew Thunhurst coming home in second. Joe?
And we've got our third place finisher. He led quite a few laps, Taft Baldwin. Sean's going to ask him about doing this on a single set of tires.
Fellow Texas countryman Taft Baldwin with me here. Taft, a nice podium finish, but was it that mistake there at the end that cost you, or had the car just gone away from you?
It hadn't really gone away from me. I think it was the difference in tires. The car still felt good, was still running solid laps. But yeah, I think the mistake costed. I think Tucker was probably going to get me anyway. I just wanted to give him a harder fight than that. Yeah. Instead, I just handed it to him.
What happened on the restart there, Taft?
Missed third gear.
Oh, okay. You missed a gear. Damn. That's tough.
The whole week or the whole weekend watching all the other races, no one that took tires got back to the front. So I just was going to ride it out. We set the car up for that and it just didn't pan out.
That's a tough one for you. Listen, it's still a podium finish. All is not lost. You still had a great day. You didn't get the win, but you're off to a good start here this season. 4 races in, third place, going to be great points. You got to be somewhat happy with that going forward. Carry a little momentum into the next round.
I'll be happy with it later. Right now, I'm thinking this was my one shot with Blake gone to actually pick up a win.
Yeah, that is tough. And with Blake, yeah, I didn't think about that from a driver's standpoint. I guess a lot of people in the field probably a lot of the same attitude that you had, that this is a legitimate chance for us to get one up on the guy who's not here, that everybody's generally chasing at one time or another.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, I won't dwell on it, Taft. I know you're down, man, but hey, listen, walk away from this, get your chin back up. We got a long season ahead of us, and a third place at Bristol is survival, and in the back of my mind, it's almost a win. All right, buddy?
Yeah, thanks, Sean. I want to thank all the guys at RSM, too, for all their work this week. The cars were fast. We proved that.
Yeah, definitely. You were fast all week, and you should be commended for that. That's Taft Baldwin, third place finisher tonight. Joe, it's Bristol, man. We got exactly what we expected out of it, I think, right?
We did. I wish we had had a fewer cautions towards the end, but otherwise I enjoyed that race a lot. Hopefully we'll return, maybe with a different car. Maybe we'll try something else now that we've done, I believe it was the Gen 6 before, and now the super late model. But we've got to close up here, and we want to thank a few people before we do that. A huge thank you to Mike Willett, who has a huge team of people, honestly, behind him to help make these things happen. So not only a thank you to him, but all the people that help out in organizing the majors and making this thing happen. Also, a thank you goes out to Kelly and to our charity, Jeff Gordon's Children's Foundation. Again, if you want to donate or if you want to find out more, you can find their website at jeffgordonchildrensfoundation.org. Thanks goes out to iRacing for putting the majors on IESN again this season. This has been some fantastic stuff in the Americas as well over in the international and European regions. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen. And additional thanks goes to June and Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Tripping over myself now. Thanks to the team today, Amjad, Bill, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. The next race, you want to talk about a drastic difference, going from a half-mile oval to the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. That'll be in the Porsche Cup car, the Kia, and the MX-5 for the 2.4 hours of the Nürburgring. That'll be Sunday, April 28th, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. So we got a little bit of a break. Take a rest and enjoy some other series before they come back. We also have upcoming races for those other series listed on the screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.